There is a lot going on coming up. FBI translator translating NSA intercepts. Bin Laden worked for U.S. until 9/11. And we've now confirmed, even CNN's reported, there is a special unit created by Bush, continued by Obama, just to spy on NSA and FBI translators who picked up all the 9/11 info. Some of them have been killed, I should add. They died mysteriously, who heard how they ran the attacks. And you can suck your thumb out there and decide not to believe these translators, who, by the way, told Congress this 7 years ago and were gagged. Why would these government translators come out and say this, like Sybil Edmonds and others? Well, I want to go over the facts, what Special Forces said, the airlift of evil, how the U.S. government flew 6,000 Taliban and al-Qaeda out to safety. The whole Afghan war was staged. It's staged now. That's coming up. I'm going to break that down. What's really happening with the flu. The National Guard admittedly setting up FEMA camps all over the United States. It is all coming up today. Barack Obama's ratings falling the farthest of any president ever this far into their campaign. This is serious, serious, serious news. Because the question is, what are they going to try to pull? They need him as their front man to get their agenda through. The socialized health care, the anti-gun bills, the open border bills, the carbon tax bill to regulate and control every facet of our lives, the hate speech bills to restrict the First Amendment. That's the only bill they've gotten through the House and Senate, but it's in conference now. Their whole agenda, everything they've been trying for 50 years, the big foreign corporations have been trying for 50 years to get through so they can fully dominate this country. The whole agenda is on the verge of passing. But as he loses all his political steam, he was this big old puffed up balloon of lies. But the bigger they are, the harder they fall politically. So look out, ladies and gentlemen. He is a cornered rat. And his supporters are a bunch of Kool-Aid drinking zombies, and the big banks and corporations behind him mean business. All right, I'm going to go to Tom, Scott, Kyle, Alex, Michael, Jason, Samson, Dan, Linda, and many others. I'm now on my phone system out of my studio, so we can take we can have hundreds of calls on the board. But we'll give each person about a minute or so with your question, comment, or point. Let's go ahead now and go to Tom in West Virginia. Tom, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hey, thanks, Alex. You sure have a way of breaking things down real well. This stuff is overwhelming. I wanted to tell you that I've given away about 85 Obama deceptions, and I don't get any feedback. I mean, what's the matter with them?
Well, most people don't talk to their neighbors. They don't talk at work. They're zombies who only watch television. And so it doesn't matter. People down the road will comment. People down the road will wake up. Look at Obama's approval rating. Look at Congress's approval rating plunging. Both parties are hated. The people are now waking up. Look at the Federal Reserve in polls. 75% want to abolish it or audit it. I mean, 75% of the public 6 months ago didn't know the Fed was private. 10% didn't know it was private 5 years ago. I mean, we are having huge victories. We're identifying the real enemy, Tom.
Yeah. Yeah, and another subject, let them get their shots, okay? They can have my share. I mean, who wants to even share space with these people who are, they're Kool-Aid shots. That's what they are.
Well, but that's like saying let the kids at Jim Jones' compound, and I appreciate your call, drink the Kool-Aid. I mean, the Kool-Aid with the cyanide in it. I understand your sentiment, especially when the Kool-Aid drinkers laugh at you. I mean, they won't go search out that 3 flu shots doubles your chances of Alzheimer's. I mean, if you just search engine, Google flu shot Alzheimer's, it'll be right there. They'll tell you, oh, there's no mercury in the shots anymore. The government increased the mercury in shots 5 years ago. In fact, just right now on screen, search engine the term Washington Post mercury in flu shot. The government's admitting it. That was a headline Thursday. Again, Google sodium fluoride bone cancer. More than a doubling in bone cancer if you drink sodium fluoride, 1 part per million. I mean, this is a absolute fact. University studies, no debate. And we have to warn people. But it's a toxic sedative, so they put it in the water. And I now have the White House Eco-Science. This is the White House Science Czar's own book, textbook, government policy book on how to drug the water, and they're doing it. I mean, we even have them admitting it. Just read it for yourself. It's all free online at Infowars.com. Flu vaccine panel creates priority list. Yeah, that's the headline. And in it, it's got that it has mercury in it. Let's go ahead and take another call. Let's talk to Scott in Illinois. Scott, you're on the air.
Hey, Alex, I actually had a couple of points. The first is WorldNet Daily just came out with Obama's real birth certificate, at least what I think is his real one.
Yeah, I meant to get to that. In fact, let me hold that up on screen. I meant to get to that. Well, go ahead and make your point. That was in my stack, and then I gave it to the producer to try to get. This is Alan Key's lawyer. She's very credible. We've looked into her. California attorney Orly Taitz, who has filed a number of lawsuits demanding proof of Barack Obama's eligibility to serve as president, has released a copy of what purports to be the Kenyan certification of birth and has filed a new motion in U.S. court for its authentication. I need Kurt Nimmo or Paul Watson to do a story on this with the background right now. The document lists Obama's parents as Barack Hussein Obama and Stanley Ann Obama, formerly Stanley Ann Dunham. The birth date is August 4, 1961, and the hospital of birth is Coast General Hospital, Mombasa, Kenya. Folks, if this is true, see, I'm so busy reading FEMA camp articles and government textbooks how they're drugging the water. This is policy book implemented. This has been implemented. Now drugging the water, and I've got Sybil Edmonds, high-level FBI translator, coming out with Al-Qaeda run by the government running the attacks, and I can't even, and then I'm an idiot. Thank God I took your call. Is this really the smoking gun?
I had another way to go at him. If he said he's a natural-born U.S. citizen, then Selective Service should have a copy of his registration, which every American male has to fill out when they get 18. I'll bet you $1 billion there is no Selective Service registration form with his name on it.
It's another great point. Listen, this whole birther thing, I stayed out of it during the campaign because I didn't know if it was real or not. But now that his approval ratings dropped by about 40%, and people now don't, because he lied about everything else, and the fact that he had this Barry Soetoro name and lied about it, and that was proven. I go on big liberal news talk stations in Denver, L.A., New York, Dallas. Every week I go on these stations, Miami. And I mention Barry Soetoro, and they say I'm a liar. He didn't have that name. Then they search engine it and find out it's true and start freaking out. We don't know who this guy is. And this is probably very credible. Sir, thank you so much for calling and reminding me of that. That was something falling through the cracks. And so I kind of ignored this birther thing. It's not in the Obama deception. We cover all the things he's lied about and who really handles him and controls him. But when we come back, I'll cover this article. We've got it up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com right now. Stay with us.
This is Alex Jones. Have you heard of the Millionaire Patriot? Well, you should. He has a free handgun and 5 days of firearms training waiting for you. That's right. You can attend 5 days of world-class gun training at Front Sight Firearms Training Institute and secure a 30-state concealed weapons permit, all for pennies on the dollar. Plus, if you act fast, the Millionaire Patriot will give you a free Springfield Armory XD pistol in the caliber of your choice. I believe now is the time that you and your family need to be armed and trained to levels that exceed law enforcement and military standards. Front Sight provides such training without any boot camp mentality or drill instructor attitudes. This is real. Don't miss out. Secure a Front Sight defensive handgun course, plus a 30-state concealed weapons permit for pennies on the dollar, and get your free handgun. Go to frontsight.com today. That's FRONTSIGHT.com. Go to frontsight.com for your training and free gun.